Tennessee Capitol Report is made possible in part by a grant from Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Tennessee.
We're here.
Woo! Right here.
Where's Jack?
We're so happy you're here.
Being here matters. That's why Blue Cross Blue Shield has thousands of people right here in Tennessee serving millions of members.
If you need anything else, we'll be right here.
So when it matters, wherever you go, we'll always be right here.
I love what I do.
Members don't expect us to go the extra mile for them, but that's what I do every day.
I feel that we have the opportunity to help those who are not always served in our community.
We're here for you.
It's a true partnership.
Tennessee loves credit unions.
Welcome to Tennessee Capitol Report. I'm your host, Chip Hoback. The 111th General Assembly convened on January the 8th, and there are many changes in the state's political leadership that we'll cover in today's show. The Republicans still hold a supermajority in the legislature, but there are many new faces, 28 new representatives in the House and 4 new senators. And there have been sweeping changes to leadership positions in both parties. Today, we'll talk to the new Speaker of the House, Glen Casada of Franklin. We'll also meet the new Republican leaders of both houses, Senator Jack Johnson, also from Williamson County, and Representative William Lambert of Cottontown. The Democrats only picked up 1 seat in the House, but they made history when they chose Representative Karen Camper of Memphis to lead them. And Senator Jeff Yarbrough from Nashville takes that role in the Senate. Tennessee also inaugurated a new governor and a joint convention of the House and Senate on January 19th, an event that brings together both parties, past and present. Let's look at highlights of Governor Bill Lee's inauguration.
We have record low unemployment. We have record low taxes. Companies are moving here. Businesses are building here. We have great prosperity, as I said, on every corner. And yet we have 15 counties in poverty, all rural, all Tennesseans. We have some of the most distressed zip codes in America, right in the heart of our greatest cities. So when we consider our state, we see how fortunate we are, and yet we also see how much we have to do. And we have made tremendous progress in this state in education, in part due to great education governors that have gone before me. In fact, Tennessee has the highest rate of improvement in educational outcomes of any state in the country. And yet, we're still in the bottom half of states. And a resurgence of vocational and technical and agricultural education and the inclusion of civics and character education combined with reforms will take Tennessee to the top tier of states. And while most of our communities and our neighborhoods are safe, our violent crime rate is rising in every major city in our state. We can be tough on crime and smart on crime at the same time. We need to help nonviolent offenders re-enter society, not re-enter prison.
One of the things that didn't change in the 111th General Assembly was the Speaker of the Senate. We want to offer our congratulations to Lieutenant Governor Randy McNally on his re-election and look forward to having him as a guest on Tennessee Capitol Report later in the session. But joining me first is the new Speaker of the House, Representative Glen Casada, who took the gavel from outgoing Speaker Beth Harwell when the session began. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Chip. Glad to be here.
How's the new job going for you?
Keeps me busy, but I'm enjoying it.
Now, you've had to make a whole lot of appointments. Yeah. There's a whole lot of change going on, a whole lot of freshmen coming in that haven't been involved. So I guess a lot of the process is, one, determining who's going to head up what positions, and 2, training all the people.
Yes, and we started with the organizational session of adopting permanent rules. These are rules that we abide by. Then we went through and elected constitutional officers, appointed chief clerks, and then appointing committees. And that's where all the legislation begins, is through the subcommittee system in the House, and then onto the full committee, and then onto the House floor.
Now, you're Republican, but you also want to serve the people. So one of the things that you've done is appointed a couple of Democrats in some key positions.
Yes.
Talk about that.
We haven't, that has not been done in the House for as far as we can trace back, maybe as much as 50 years. And we're proud of that because we want to move Tennessee, the legislators want to move Tennessee forward. And you do that by having a team concept. And so those individuals that want to help make taxes low, government small, continue to make education excel, we want them on the team, and that includes Democrats and Republicans.
Now, we have a new governor, and so far we haven't really seen much as far as what his agenda is going to be that you're going to be helping to drive.
Yes. I tell you, Governor Lee is going to be one of the good ones. He is going to be, he's a sharp businessman, he's a fine individual, good Christian man. And I liked on the campaign trail, he kind of outlined for us what he envisions. And I see an expansion of vocational education. I see addressing the recidivism and how to lower that, and the increase in broadband, which is critical for our rural parts of our state. So we've met with the governor, talked 30,000-foot kind of topics with the Lieutenant Governor, Randy McNally, and you see a governor, an executive branch, legislative branch that are unified.
Now, seems like the top issues every year are education, healthcare, are the top two things. I guess that's going to be the case again?
It would, and I'll say this, we want to continue the trajectory that we're on. Right now, Tennessee is one of the fastest improving states in economics, job creation, best run state, lowest tax state when compared with cost of living, least in debt. The list is long, so we want to continue that trajectory. Education for 2 years in a row, the fastest improving. And so the previous General Assemblies, the last 8 years, Governor Haslam has put us on this track of the best improved. Now it's time to be the best, and that's where we're going to go from here.
I mean, focused on regular education, higher education, bringing people back into the educational system, and now vocational education is the next push?
Yes. Education is truly an economic driver. Corporate headquarters, individuals, if they can come to a state like Tennessee that's low expenses, low taxes, and they can have a pool of middle management, upper management, and a skilled workforce, I mean, that's just a winning combination, and that's why we look at education as an economic driver as well.
Well, 111th General Assembly, what do you think are going to be your toughest battles that you're going to have to fight?
We have a chink in the armor in Tennessee. I've appointed a subcommittee to address it head on, and it's substance abuse and it's mental health. And so we've created a subcommittee of individuals that are medical professionals or in that field, and they're going to help craft a direction for the state to address those two issues. But the bottom line is Tennessee is successful financially. We're having over collections. We've got to put those over collections to work to help those individuals that need long-term help. Long-term help is going to be expensive, but we need to address that.
And of course, when you talk about health care, the opioid crisis comes up. It was addressed at the last session in the legislature. You expect some new laws coming in about that?
I do, because we've got to continue to address the opioids are out there in quantity. That needs to be addressed. But concurrently, if you go through a severe surgery, we don't want to make our fellow citizens have to suffer because they've met their 3-day maximum. So we've got some tweaking to do on that bill, and that health committee, headed up by Dr. Brian Terry, will do a really good job for us.
And I would assume we're learning more every day, so that's going to evolve and change.
Yeah, the technology is going to be a big help, monitoring, tracking, and so that is going to be a big help for us.
Thank you, Speaker Cassada, for taking your time to be on the show with us again.
Glad to be here.
In addition to the Speaker of the House, there have been other sweeping changes to leadership positions in both houses. The Republican caucus chairs are instrumental in prioritizing positions in the supermajority. So we look forward to seeing the impact of Chairman Cameron Sexton in the House and Chairman Ken Yeager from Kingston in the Senate. There were changes at the top as well, and joining me now are the new Republican leaders of the 111th General Assembly from the Senate, Leader Jack Johnson, and Republican William Lamberth, leader in the House. Good to see you both again, and congratulations on your new positions.
Thank you.
With a new governor, you don't know his style yet. We don't know how heavy-handed he's going to be, how involved he's going to be in everything. He's going to have some issues he's going to want to drive. What kind of sense are you getting about that so far?
Yeah, great question. And you know, an interesting thing, is that as leaders in the House and the Senate, Leader Lamberth and I will be the prime sponsors of all the governor's legislation. So we will be working very closely with the administration, and that includes the budget and all the legislative bills that will come from the governor's office. It'll be our responsibility to shepherd those through our respective bodies. So I've known Governor-elect Lee for a few years. He's from Williamson County. And I'm just absolutely convinced he's going to be a great governor. You used the term heavy-handed, and I don't see that being his personality at all. I think he is he's someone who can bring people together, and he's a non-confrontational type of person, much like Governor Haslam was. I think it's more about getting people around the table and figuring out what the right solution is. And so look forward to working with him in that capacity. One good thing is that, you know, there are governors across the nation who are either taking office or have just taken office, and in so many of those cases, be it California, Illinois, various states, those governors are coming into office. They may have campaigned on one thing, but on day one, every bit of their attention is probably going to be consumed by some type of looming crisis, and a budgetary crisis or something. In Tennessee, knock on wood, we don't have that. Governor Lee, and Governor-elect Lee would be the first to tell you, he is being dealt a very good hand. Our state is in the best fiscal condition it's ever been in. Our economy is strong. We're making rapid improvements in education. And I love his slogan. He says, you know, we're going to go from good to great. We're going to build on the progress that we've made. And I think we've got a lot of forward momentum. So I'm real excited. You mentioned challenges, and certainly having a new governor and a new administration, a lot of new cabinet members, a lot of new members of the General Assembly, that will bring certain challenges, but I think it brings lots of opportunity too. And I think that's the way our system was designed. It's good to have fresh eyes coming in and looking at various issues affecting the state. So I'm really excited about the next few months.
Representative Lamberth, we've talked about this on this program before too. You've got a criminal justice background, and you've sponsored legislation in the past and have affected change. And the governor has said that's one of his areas of concern that he wants to focus on as well. So what kind of changes do you see in our criminal justice system, or what would you like to happen?
Well, first and foremost, thank you for asking that question, because for 6 years, I've really been waiting for this opportunity. When we had a governor that ran on criminal justice reform, Governor Haslam has done a phenomenal job on education, on infrastructure, on reducing the tax burden for Tennesseans, on really setting up a great system here in Tennessee and really streamlining that system. But one of the issues that we never really dove into deeply was criminal justice reform. And the reason that's critical right now is that we have a criminal justice system that was designed in the late 80s after a federal lawsuit about prison overcrowding. And so the system that we have was designed really around the fact of try to release prisoners as fast as possible, and then somehow or another try to keep up with them and keep them inbounds outside the prison walls for long periods of time. And it really didn't matter whether those sentences were the right sentences for the crime, whether it was for public safety or not. They did the best they could, but it was genuinely a sentencing structure that was designed with a gun to their head. And so what we have now is one of the strongest economic times we've ever had. We've got a system that's working well as far as our economic system here in Tennessee. So we can design a criminal justice system that takes into account really justice tempered with mercy. I mean, every single person, minus just a few folks that are there on life sentences or on death row, at some juncture, if they're a person that's imprisoned in a Tennessee prison right now, they will be released at some point. We've got to prepare them for that. They're going to be released back into our community. We want to make sure that whatever problem they had that put them behind bars is resolved while they are in prison, and not just wait till they get out and hope that somehow or another miraculously they've been cured of whatever issue led them down a path where they were incarcerated. So we're going to be looking at ways to better handle how we do incarceration, and that really flip that on its head so that it's not just about punishment. That is absolutely an aspect of it. Always, as long as Republicans are in charge here in Tennessee, there will be an individual responsibility and accountability aspect of criminal justice. But beyond that, to try to figure out, look, was this a mental health issue? Was this poor decisions? Was this someone who didn't have the ability or tools to be able to deal with an addiction? And to build all of that into the system. And part of that's going to come with an investment into the system. We've invested, $1.5 billion in education over the past 6 years in new money. That's fantastic. I'm not saying it's going to take anywhere near that amount of money in the criminal justice system, but we've got to do more than we're doing right now, and we've got to build a better system.
All right, and also for you, rural economic development has been another focus, and we've seen broadband issues passed to give people more internet access in the rural areas. What are some of the areas you'd like to focus on?
Well, you know, Tennessee, as I mentioned earlier, we have the strongest economy we've ever had right now, lowest unemployment rate we've ever had, incomes are rising, but we do still have what we refer to as economically distressed areas of the state. And we have a number of counties across the state that, while our statewide unemployment is around 3%, we still have counties that have double-digit unemployment. And so one of the things Governor-elect Lee has talked about, that we've talked about in the General Assembly, is how can we stimulate some of this economic progress and development into some of these rural parts of the state. You know, agriculture is still a very critical component of our economy, and obviously that's out in the more rural areas. Governor-elect Lee is a multi-generation cattle farmer. He's got an agricultural background. Most people know him from his heating and air company, but he's very committed to agriculture and supporting agriculture. A critical component of that is something else that Governor-elect Lee has talked about, and that's vocational technical education. You know, back in my day, as I was graduating from high school, it was just everybody needed to go to a 4-year college. Everybody needed to go get a bachelor's degree. And I think in recent years, we've come to realize that not everyone needs to go to a 4-year school. There are important jobs in our economy that can be done with a technical certificate or perhaps a community college degree. And so that's why under Governor Haslam we passed Tennessee Promise to make community college more accessible to more people, as well as career technical education. In Williamson County, in my district, in Fairview, at Fairview High School, we're doing a pilot program. It's called the Megatronics program, that partnering with the GM plant in Spring Hill, where they came in with significant equipment, technical equipment, to teach these kids how to operate this. And those kids that are going through this pilot program, when they graduate high school, they'll also walk out with a technical certificate that makes them eligible to go to work at the GM plant in Spring Hill, making $50,000, maybe $60,000 a year. And that's a great career for some of these people. We're always going to need plumbers and welders and pipe fitters and people like that. So as you've probably heard of the Drive to 55, that was Governor Haslam's initiative to make sure we know that within the next decade, 55% of all jobs in Tennessee will require some type of post-secondary education. And that's a technical certificate, it's a community college degree. It doesn't necessarily have to be a bachelor's degree, but some type of educational attainment post-high school. And we're somewhere in the 30s, I think, percent of Tennesseans, maybe high 30s of Tennesseans, percentage of Tennesseans that have that type of education. So we've got to educate our workforce. And so when you combine those things, the vocational technical education and expanding that, making that more accessible to kids in high school and helping them transition into the workforce, I think it dovetails very nicely in with a focus on rural economic development. Certainly rural broadband is a critical component of that. There are companies that would love to come to Tennessee. We've got land that's very affordable where they can put their factories, they can put their distribution centers, but they have to have access to broadband.
Well, thank you, Leaders Lamberth and Johnson, for joining us on Tennessee Capitol Report.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Earlier in the show, we saw highlights from the inauguration of Governor Bill Lee, which was carried live here on Tennessee Public Television. And it was quite a production, with unique challenges covering a live event subject to many changes. We want to share a few moments behind the scenes of your public television stations at work. Let's watch. The inauguration of Governor Bill Lee, Republican from Williamson County. Joining us first, we're very honored to talk to Chris Devaney, the former.
Okay, playback. I am putting you online.
3, 2, track playback. 1, roll playback. Music.
Republicans were not alone in electing new leadership in the 111th General Assembly. There are some new leaders of the Democratic Party as well, some who are making history. Joining me now are the minority leaders of both houses, Senator Jeff Yarbrough from Nashville and Representative Karen Camper from Memphis. Good to see you both on the show today.
Thank you.
You've been here before.
Thanks for having
us. Welcome
Thank
for the
you.
first time guest on the show. Let's start with you. Talk about your new leadership position, what that means to you.
Well, you know, you think about the historical nature of it. It's almost like a heavy lift for you because everybody's expecting you to do a lot and be a lot to a lot of people. But I'm looking at it in terms of where our new vision will be for our caucus and where we can make some strides for our caucus and where we can build relationships and things like that. People know that I'm a diplomat, so I'm very pragmatic and working with the other side, and so I look forward to us doing a lot more of that to accomplish things for for Tennesseans.
One of the things Speaker of the House Cassada has done that hasn't been done in many, many years is appoint a couple of Democrats to some key positions.
He did.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, you know, in his speech, he did talk about bipartisanship. He did talk about that the House belongs to all of us. So for him to do that is a gesture in that way, that he really means that. So we're looking forward to him following through on just not appointing the chairs, but giving them the power to do, from their view, what needs to be done, what bills need to, come out, and how to shape and form policy. So we're looking forward to something good coming out of there, but also beyond just the chairmanship. The members being able to get their bills passed, the members being able to get fully, a full opportunity within these committees, within the committee system. So he's made a commitment, and we're going to hold him to it.
Well, it's really great to have you on the show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
All right. And Senator Yarborough, there's a lot of change that's gone on, probably the most in a century or so as far as the state legislature, with a lot of freshmen coming in, leadership changes, everybody but the lieutenant governor. So are you optimistic with all this change?
Well, I think that, I think it's a really good point because people see the elections and the partisan breakdown doesn't change that much, but you've got 30 new members in the House, new majority and minority leaders in both chambers, new committee chairs, across the body. And so that will create new opportunities. There's lots of ways that obstacles can be created in the committee or procedural process here, and new human beings change the makeup of the place. And so, and some of those new members come from, they'll have a different perspective than the people that they're replacing. They just will. And so, I think that we'll all be on a learning curve, even the people who have been here before, to understand how the new administration works, what their priorities are, and then trying to understand where the sort of center of gravity in the body is going to be.
Because not only do we have a lot of new people both in the House and the Senate, we have a governor that has not been involved in politics before.
That's right. Well, and I think, we have a brand new governor who, I think he ran a very good campaign, but he is in many ways a blank slate when it comes to public policy. He's made a few big pronouncements about the things that he's for, but the nature of that campaign, when you're, I think it wasn't a detailed policy agenda, right? And so the question is going to be, I think Tennesseans decided that they were electing a good man as governor, but the question is whether we've elected a good governor. And I certainly think that Democrats, Republicans, and everyone hopes so, but there's going to be a testing period here.
And I guess when a new governor comes in, you got to learn his style as well. What do you think about that?
Well, I agree with you that that's something we are going to have to wait to learn about. But from meeting him and just having a little interaction with him, my perception is that he will have his own agenda. He will put forward what he believes a direction the state needs to go, and he will try to build coalitions to move us there. That's my perception of what I think he'll do. I don't think he'll be strong, heavy-handed. He didn't come across as that type of individual. But at the same time, I don't think he's had the pleasure of seeing how how they make sausage. So that's going to create, a real testament to who and how he will govern. But I believe going in, he's going to be very pragmatic. He's going to have his vision. He's going to have some things he wants to accomplish. And I just believe he'll try to pull together a good, bipartisan way of trying to reach those goals.
I think that's I think this is the most important issue right now.
Yeah.
He set an agenda that in some ways, lots of people agree with. He's talked about criminal justice reform, workforce development, rural economic development, things that really there can be a lot of people that get behind, bills that you know, Representative Camper and I have been working on for years. And the real question is going to be whether he will fight for that agenda in, you know, even and be willing to stand up to his own party when he runs into roadblocks. Because I think this first year is a big test, because I think if he gets rolled this year, it sets a really bad precedent for the next 3 years.
Leaders Camper and Yarbrough, thank you very much for taking the time. I enjoyed having you both on Tennessee Capitol Report.
Thank you, Chip.
Thank you. Appreciate being here.
Well, that wraps up this edition of Tennessee Capitol Report as we begin our 5th season on Tennessee Public Television. You can watch our show again on YouTube this week. Just go to your local station's website, or you can find us directly on YouTube. The program will also be linked to our Facebook page, and we'd love to hear your comments. Our next show will be February the 24th, as this session of the legislature shifts into full speed next month. We'll be sharing highlights of key legislation under consideration. Until then, thank you for joining us today. I'm Chip Hoback.
Tennessee Capitol Report is made possible in part by a grant from Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Tennessee.
We're here. Woo.
Right here.
Where's Jack?
We're so happy you're here.
Being here matters. That's why Blue Cross Blue Shield has thousands of people right here in Tennessee serving millions of members.
If you need anything else, we'll be right here.
So when it matters, wherever you go, we'll always be right here.
I love what I do.
Members don't expect us to go the extra mile for them, but that's what I do every day.
I feel that we have the opportunity to help those who are not always served in our community.
We're here for you.
It's a true partnership. Tennessee loves credit unions.